Well, Easter is almost upon us, which means that the marshmallow peeps are invading our supermarkets. So I decided it's about time that we tried casting some of these peeps in resin. So let's get started. All right, guys, so I'm pretty excited to see if this works out. So if you're not familiar with what peeps are, they're basically marshmallows, and they look like little bunnies or chicks, and they're colorful, but we're going to try and mount a peep onto a burl chunk, but not just any burl chunk. I made a copy of this, a mold of it, and we're going to make a faux resin burl using pastel colors. I thought that would be kind of cool. We'll mount our peep on it, and then we're going to recast that whole thing into a PVC pipe, probably a taller one. And then we'll have a kind of a cylinder blank with clear resin on the top, and then the peep and the burl. And then we're going to try and make an egg shape out of that. We have a few challenges here though, so I don't even know if the peep is going to make it through the casting process. It may just melt or deform or I don't know, turn into goo. So that's one challenge, and I don't know if it's going to react with the resin at all. I don't think it will. Sugars, I haven't so far, when I've done other things that have sugar in them. I don't know though, this is a marshmallow and it may have some preservatives or dyes in it that may cause an issue. So I'm not entirely certain if this is going to work out or not, but we're going to give it a shot. So stay tuned so we can see if this thing actually works. So before we begin, I just wanted to mention that these molds are available on my website if you want to pick one of these guys up. Again, it makes a 4-inch kind of burl chunk that can be recast in PVC pipes, a 4-inch PVC pipe. Originally, what I was making these for was for sphere blanks, so they work really good for that. You can make a big cylinder though and basically make whatever you want. So again, available on my website, and the links are down in the description below. So let's get started on this project. The number one step, we need to get this mold into the oven, heat it up. I'm going to get it to about 130 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're going to make ourselves a pastel burl. All right, so we got ourselves a faux burl. This thing looks awesome. The colors came out perfect, exactly how I was hoping. Just a lot of times that doesn't happen. So I'm really happy with that. So the next step is we need to bust open our peeps and mount one to this burl chunk. And I think what I'm gonna do is just try hot glue. I can get a kind of a big blob of it and then just kind of shove the peep down in there and hope it kind of stays. So let's get the hot glue gun going and get this thing mounted. All right, here goes nothing. All right, so our little bunny is looking pretty awesome on this burl. Actually, everything turned out better than I expected on that. So what I'm gonna do is I found a larger PVC pipe, and I'm just gonna use one of these silicone plugs. They basically just pop into the bottom of them. Now, this is a lot of resin that's gonna be in here, and I wouldn't wanna just pick this up and hope that the plug stays where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna put it on something hard and then pick that up when I'm moving it around, just to make sure I don't drop all the resin out. But I'm gonna spray this with mold release and then just drop that thing basically in here and plug it, and we're good to go. Now, these plugs are available at Turner's Warehouse. I got a link down in the description below if you want to pick some of these guys up. They got every size. They even sell PVC pipes as well. So these things are awesome for casting in pipes. So let's get this thing sprayed with mold release, and then let's get some resin. It's gonna take about 1,000 grams, I estimate, to get it pretty full. And we should be good to go. So here's this is the big step. Hopefully this thing will survive the resin casting process. Well, all right, Mr. Peep is looking pretty ragged in there. He kind of deformed and melted and ran all over the side. So I don't think marshmallow is the greatest idea for especially this amount of resin. This is quite a bit, and even though Alumilite Clear Slow is a lower exotherm resin, which means it doesn't heat up as much as many of the other ones, when you pour 1,000 grams at once, it's going to get kind of hot, and it melted the Peep. He's still intact, kind of, so we're going to push forward. This isn't going to deter me. This may be the saddest Easter project on the planet, but I'm going to push forward because I just want to see, well, number one, I really want to turn this faux burl and see what that looks like polished up. I think it's going to be really cool. And, I want to see if I can get, the shape at least of this project, completed. And so, like I said, it ain't going to be pretty, but let's see if we can, make an egg out of this still and have kind of the ugliest Easter project on the planet. All right, so it's all mounted and it's ready to be turned. So I'm looking forward to it, but it is still oozing marshmallow out the side. I'm just gonna push forward. I don't think it's gonna be anything that's like problematic for turning. It's just there's a hole in there, and I think the pressure maybe or something like that is kind of forcing the marshmallow out. Poor bunny. But whatever. I'm just going to wipe it off. We're going to turn it. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of seal it off, maybe with UV resin or something like that. I tried CA glue already on this and it didn't do anything really. So we're just going to push forward. We're going to turn it down and then seal it later. So let's start making some shavings. Okay, so it turned out okay, not too bad. It sort of worked. You know, overall the turning went really well. I had no problems doing, you know, anything with the turning. The peep is a little bit mangled in there. He's kind of sad looking, but overall, I'm pretty happy with this project. I mean, you know, it works. You can cast marshmallows. It just may not be exactly the results that you're looking for. And I'm really happy with the faux burl. I love making those. You can get so creative with them. And don't forget the molds. If you want to pick one of those molds up to make these faux burls, the 4-inch faux burls, they're available on my website, made to order. Links down in the description below. So just as a little bit of a bonus and to satisfy my own curiosity, there's a couple things going on with this specific casting with the peep that are unique maybe or specific. We cast a lot of resin on this. 1,000 grams, even with Alumilite Clear Slow, you know, it can kind of heat up. It's going to get warm. And the other thing is the peep was like fresh. It was like squishy, totally fresh. You know, I just opened the package. So I decided to try a different type of a casting. One, less resin, and two, the package had been sitting there for a while, so it was kind of a stale peep. It was a hard peep. So I thought, okay, let's combine those two, you know, characteristics and try another casting. And we got a little bit better results. It didn't melt as much, let's say. It did still deform. He's kind of squishy. But it worked a little bit better. So perhaps if you don't, you know, use as much resin, you might be able to get away with doing something with this. Now, in this case, the problem is, you know, you really don't want to turn into this. It's still going to be a marshmallow on the inside. And so I don't know how well, you know, for a turning project, I don't think that this is still going to be very viable. However, if all you're doing is making something where you're casting it in place and not turning into it at all, then, you know, you might be able to get away with it if it's less resin. Another thing that I thought of, a couple other ideas for this if you wanted to try it out. One, you could try to stabilize the peep. I don't know if that would work or not, but you could try and just maybe submerge it or go through the full vacuum process. That may destroy the peep as well, doing vacuum, but you could at least soak it in cactus juice, bake it, and then see if that hardens it up enough to be able to kind of turn it. The other thing is you can maybe just coat it with, you know, like maybe a UV resin or even just like an epoxy coating, and that may save the peep. I don't know, you know, that's maybe another video. But overall, you know, pretty fun project. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it come together. So if you're thinking about getting into resin casting, but you're not really sure where to begin, check out my ebook, The Beginner's Guide to Resin Casting. It answers all those beginner questions, like, you know, what do I need to get started? What kind of resin should I use? How does it all work? It'll get you over that initial learning curve so you can get in the shop and start making some resin cast projects of your own. It's available on my website if you're interested. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching this video and happy casting.